Good afternoon. And today this is going to be I would say, a nurturing nervous system practice. So before we start, I want you to go and grab some hand lotion, which is not something I typically do, but today we're going to do a little bit of self care and nervous system work together. So pause the video and go and get some lotion and then come back. Well, welcome back. If you have rings or watches on before we start, go ahead and take those off and just lay them down. So, earlier in this week, we've talked about body awareness, and I had a couple of other videos in regards to like body perception, nervous system, chronic stress, and how it all innervates together. And you can't separate one from the other. So if you are stressed out, it's going to impact your entire body, including your nervous system. And as we move through each one of these weeks in the 21-day course, I'm hoping to really allow you to begin to see how all the pieces fit together. So what I'd like you to do is to just allow your hands. So I'm actually sitting in a chair with a cushion behind me, but I want you to allow your hands to just rest on your legs for just a second. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to really begin to go inward just for a minute. And these are questions that I want you to ask yourself. They're not for you to answer in any format on the on Rizuku or anything at all like that. So I want you to just allow your hands to just rest just for a second and scan your body. And I'm going to pose the question, what can you put down today? Meaning, what obligation or overextension can you lay down today that's not serving you any purpose at this point? So now go ahead and just allow your hands to come to your heart center. I want you to just feel the palms of your hands together first before you do anything with them. And allow your hands to press into each other and feel how, like if you're pressing your right hand into your left hand, feel how it supports it. So as you press, your hand is not going to go willy-nilly. So it's actually going to support it. So our body does support each other in many different aspects. But for this particular video, I want us to begin to explore our hands and our arms and our face. And so I want you to start by just gently rubbing the palms of your hands together and creating a little bit of heat and creating a little bit of warmth in your hands. And I want you to think about all of the wonderful things that our hands do for us daily, whether they're here or on the computer or writing or picking up a utensil or cooking dinner or folding clothes, anything that all that we do. And so when we nurture our hands, and yes, many of us go for massage, we go and get our nails done. But when you begin to nurture yourself in a self-care ritual, it's a lot more meaningful. So go ahead and just now from here, I want you to interlace your fingers and just to let your hands clasp, let the palms of your hands come together as much as they can, and let your thumbs press into the palms of your hands. And as you begin to open them, I want you to take your left hand. Let's start with your left hand to your right hand. And I want you to begin to just massage like the outer section of your hand. No lotion yet. We'll get there in just a minute. And then gently beginning to pull on your fingers. Now, obviously, if you've got issues going on with your hands, you're going to be extra careful. I actually like to do this with a little bit of like pressure. It just feels good on my joints. So again, feeling what does your hands need? Now, go ahead and go to the other side and go to the left hand now and just gently pulling and maybe even elongating. And as you're doing this, so moving along the sides of your hands and then do it almost like you're washing your hands, but you're not going to use. Now, can you move them backwards? Like, so your body's, so you're not, so if you normally would go right over left, can you go left over right? And it probably feels a little different, but that's okay. It's changing up some of the things that we do that is also good for our brain health as well. So now go ahead and I want you to just move your hands up to your wrist at this point. And again, no lotion. Now allow your hands to just be open. And what does your palm, like, do you have any extra sensation in the palms of your hands at this point? And this is where body perception comes in. So you might even feel like if your joints were feeling stiff, do they have a little bit more of a relaxation in them? Now go ahead and grab your lotion. I want you to place some in the palm of your hand. And we're going to just start with however much you want, but we're going to move up to our elbows with the lotion. So if you have to add more, that's perfectly fine. So let's just start by slowly rubbing the lotion and notice the sensations or your perception of what it's like. Does your lotion have a smell? Is there, is it cold? Maybe it's warm. What does it feel like? And really key in and link about what is your body. All these messages are being sent to your brain for starters. And we have so many proprioceptors, which are fingers and nerves in our fingers and our feet, that you'll hear me talk, that send messages to our bodies. Now, if you didn't get enough lotion, go ahead and take some more. And I want you to begin to use one hand and begin to really nurture those, going back to your fingers, what I just did, and nurture and gently massaging the lotion, but also getting into the joints. Like, do you have an achy joint in your finger? But then also taking that lotion. And now from here, I want you to actually think about, as you're doing this, gently twisting the skin and rolling it around. And you might take it all the way to your elbow. And then once you get to the elbow, turn that up. And I want you to think about, now reverse it. So thinking about the muscles, but you also have something inside the body. It's called fascia. And if you're not familiar what fascia is, it's like the skin on chicken, that white membrane is the fascia. So it's a layer between the muscles and the skin. And when you're doing this, you're not only massaging your skin, but you're also invigorating the fascia, which also has many, many, many nerve endings in them. And now let's go to the other side. So again, if you need to take more lotion, so start first with your hand and just be nurturing with it. Oftentimes as women, we take care of everybody else. We don't allow, we say we allow time for ourselves. Like, you're on your agenda. And I hope by the end of this self-care workshop or little mini training that we're doing here, that you understand and you value your self-nurturing as well. So now from here, start again and start by just beginning to massage. And I want to just say that how I'm doing my arm, it might not be how you want to do it. So again, it goes back to something you're going to hear me talk about is called voice, choice, and agency. And so sometimes when we've gone through chronic stress in our life, like maybe in a past marriage, you were in or a child growing up, where sometimes our voices were stifled and we couldn't say what our body, we could not say what we wanted. So then reverse it and bring it all the way back down. And this time, as you bring it back down, once again, I just want you to rub your hands together and notice the different sensation than when we first would have created. Because sometimes when you rub them together with no lotion, you've got a little bit of heat going on. But now I'd like you to just take your hands and let them rest on your legs. You might even try to keep them separated though. Let them rest on your legs, or you might even let them rest like down beside. I'm sitting in a chair that doesn't have arms on it. Or if you want, you can move to the floor and sit on the floor, because we're going to begin to move just a little bit. And it's not going to be a lot, but I want you to do a side, as we move here, you're going to side bend, let your fingers reach toward the floor, and then gently bring it up. And then go to the other side. And so we're just going to move gently side to side. So as you're moving side to side like this, what you're doing is, number one, you're invigorating your spine as well. But it also, when we begin to add in and create a little bit more movement, it opens up our lungs to begin to breathe deeper. So now I'd like you to pause, and we're going to start by taking one hand and you're going to reach it up and over. And again, I'm going to just say this. Please let your body, and I'll show you. So we're going to start by just allowing the openness through the side body, and then alternate sides here. And if you've been in a lot of my classes, you know I always do side bending because it increases our volume. We got little tiny muscles between each one of our ribs. And now go ahead and bring it back up. And again, keep going side to side here. And maybe your hand wants to come more front. Maybe it wants to come back. Maybe you want to rest or maybe you're not going to go as deep, especially if you've got issues going on with your spine or your back. Listen to your body. And here's that listening. I want you to listen. It goes back to the perception. What is your body asking of you right now? How do your arms want to move? Let your body be the guide. And I know a lot of times, and this isn't about an exercise class. This is allowing you to tap into what is your body telling you from, it's called interoception. So interoception means the nerves and things that are going on in our body. If you've got a stomach ache, you know what the feeling of it feels like. But when we side bend and we listen to our body from a nervous system perspective, it allows you to move organically. And sometimes I like to actually just take my hand and let it, and maybe even stay there. But as you do this, it allows you to tap in on a deeper level for your own body. Sorry. And as you tap into it, maybe even holding the side. Now from here, and you're going to see as time goes on that I'm going to integrate the eyes with it. Now I want you to first start by staying still, but then take your eyes and let them glide over to the right. And you're going to stay there. Let your eyes keep looking a hard right. And you're going to stay there until you do one of three things. You swallow, you sigh, or you yawn. And then you're going to bring your vision back to center. So I want you to listen to my words, not follow me on the camera. And then let your eyes glide over to the left. And I'll explain to you what this does in a second. Let your eyes glide over. And just stay where you are until you do one of three things. Sometimes if you've not done this before, people's eyes want to wander and you're not going to get the sensation. But what this is an automatic down regulation for your nervous system. Let's say you're in a meeting or you're even having a disagreement with somebody and you get up and you walk away. This helps you. You can breathe, but the eye movement itself is also very down regulating. So now from here, I want you to take your hands and I want you to bring them like you're going to be like moving. And I want you to side bend over, bring that circular motion and going up. So you're going to continue with the circular motion and moving through your whole torso. Allow your hips to feel grounded here. Whatever you're sitting in. One more time as you take it up and around. And now I want you to pause and take it over, bring it back. Two more times. And now close your hands. Close your hands. Close your eyes and let your hands come to rest in your lap. But I want you to close your eyes and place your hands on your belly. Just let them be soft. And when you're with your hands on your belly, I want you to listen again to what your body needs. So sometimes when I ask people to do so massaging your belly in a small circular motion can be really soothing for some people. For other people, it can be really dysregulating and they don't like it. So allow yourself to just be soft. And in the very beginning, I said, what can you lay down? What can you let go? I'm going to come back to that question. So continuing circling in the same direction you started in. And then go ahead and pause, and you're going to reverse it and circle it around in the opposite direction. And now I'd like you to just let your hands just pause. And I want you to let your hands come to your neck. So again, if your body is really reactive, I mean, especially if your hands have like a lot of lotion or your hands might be cold, allow your hands to just rest on your neck to start with. But before we do any movement with this, I just want to say the nerves that connect us, we've got 10 cranial nerves that innervate at the brain stem, which is the very, like at the base of your neck, like where your head moves up and down. They innervate with the vagus nerve. And each one of the vagus nerves has got different roles. But for what I'm going to talk about today is it starts and it meanders behind your ears and down into your neck. So this part right here on your neck is where the deepest access, the most superficial access of the vagus nerve is in your neck. So you want to be really gentle when especially when you're massaging behind your ears and down. So let's just start with just taking your hands and just letting them sit. And again, so dropping your head down into your hands, let your head be supported, your head and your neck be supported by your hands. And as you do this, notice the resistance. If you have resistance, what does your neck feel like if you turn it in one direction? And then bring it back to center. And then what does it feel like when you go to the other side? So sometimes people also carry a lot of stress and tension in their necks, and even that leads down into, so you got a big muscle that innervates right through here, and it's called the platysmus, and it's like it covers all of the extra muscles, but it's also something that can be sometimes it can be really tight because it connects just under our jaw. So I want you to pause here and I want you to open your mouth really wide and then close it up. So do you have tension? Can you feel? Now, if you're not sure of what I'm talking about, you can take your hand and find your jaw, like with the hinge where your jaw opens and closes, and place your fingers there and then open your jaw really wide and then go ahead and close it. Does your jaw feel really tight and tense? Because sometimes we carry tension in our jaw and we don't even realize it. So if you're feeling tension, I want you to take your fingers and I just want you to gently make circular motions on that joint, just gentle. And then you might even begin to gently move your fingers along your jawline and then have them meet in the center at your chin. And again, so just gently moving here and pulling your fingers towards your chin. And now we're going to tip your chin up just slightly. And I want you to take your hands and I want you to let the fingers just become right behind your ears. And I want you to begin to just let your fingers move down your neck. And again, it's not about pressure. It's about gentleness here. So you might even find that you just, I like to sometimes just even use a gentle movement. There also is, if you've never seen one of these, they work really well for a couple of things. Number one, they're really good for your skin, but number two, they're really good for nervous system work. And it's called a gua sha. And what it does is you can take it and you can move it around your face, but you also can turn it. And it's cold. It's like a piece of coral. You can sell them. They sell them on Amazon. If you're interested, I can find a link. But you can also get them like at Rite Aid. And again, so you want to make sure that you take it, so you're stroking it towards your heart. So not only is this nervous system regulation, it's also good for your skin. It's also really good for your lymphatic system. Really, really good. So it's moving the fluid and the tissues away from our head. And it just feels like, and if you're going to use it on your face, you can move it around your eyes. And again, it's just gentle. And then if you're using it on your forehead, you just press up. But we have the nerve endings in our face, between our eyes and our ears, are just critical in so many different things. And I'm just going to give you a couple. But when your nervous system goes up, your eyes become dilated, so your field of vision is not nearly as much. And your hearing actually begins to dissipate, or it becomes like you can turn people off. Have you ever seen somebody that's mad and you try and talk to them and they turn their head? They sometimes literally can't hear you because their hearing tones down and they only hear high frequencies as opposed to the lower, like high frequencies. So now let's go ahead and just allow your hands to come back to your lap. And I'd like you to just stop here and just pause and notice how your body feels just from doing what we did. And a lot of times we think about the things that our bodies tell us inwardly, like we can feel our heart. We can feel our food digesting. We can feel our, when you got to urinate or when we got to, you got to eliminate. You can feel those kinds of feelings. But really, truly, when you think about what our bodies do for us, if you stop and listen to the language of your own body, because everybody's nervous system is different. And if this is something that you're interested in more of, I can actually guide you through more with it. But really, truly listening. What's going on with my back if my back is bothering me? And sometimes people will say, well, I really don't know what I did. But do you carry tension in your back? Do you carry tension in that right shoulder or maybe even in your right hip that's going to have a bearing on the left side of your back? So thank you for joining me for this video. And I look forward to having questions when we come to our group call on Friday.